Good morning, everybody. TCG Jason, take 87. Just updating everyone on some TVIX trading that I'm doing. As you know, SPY is pretty indecisive for the better part of the morning here. I got caught on the wrong side of a couple stale trades, lost $200 each time. And eventually what I saw was this development of a downside trend, which was acting as our resistance. And with this major break of this bull candle here, what I did was waited for a reconsolidation and then a confirmation of that trend. So that's going to give us our first touch here, our second touch, and then our third touch into a bear candle, which tells us that that is a real trend line and it's valid and it's strong, and we should expect to see more downside after that. So I loaded at this resistance, the confirmation of this trend line, and I've been riding SPY down since then. So I'm up 1825, and we could expect to get a little bit of support at either of these two supporting lines, which are major levels from yesterday. Okay, so jumping back in here, we're at a key area of support. So we've come close to this on two different candles, and smart move would be to sell and wait for a decision in either direction, but I'm going to play bearish and expect a break of this because I expect an overall bearish day. So here's a little something interesting. You can see that SPY has actually ground that down a little bit more and has bounced up, but TVIX has actually increased. So that's telling us that this is an expected bounce and that the TVIX traders are betting heavily that SPY is going to continue bearish. I'm inclined to agree. Jumping over to our stock charts for our fib retracement tool, if we draw a fib from top of that to our levels, you can see that 204.72 204.72 is a major fib level retracement. Jumping back to SPY on our trading view, we can see that we bounced right up that area. We may go up to test it again, but this is well within the expected recovery or fib retrace. So we're still happy. Jumping back here, we can see that our fib level area within 10 cents held as a area of support, not a line of support, and SPY has moved back down and it's retested this support, and we're now going to likely come down, retest it, and our confirmation of the next downside leg will be the break. Let's call it 204.53. So it looks like we're going to break that support line at 204.53, and there's about 1 minute left in the candle. So let's look at the 1 minute chart to see what happened. So we actually dipped below and bounced back up. The first 2 minutes, the third candle, third minute, dip below. Fourth, so far unable to recover, and you see a big drop there on the fifth candle. So it looks like we are going to stay down here. And volume appears to be picking up. Yep. All right, we'll check back in on the 5 minute in a little bit. So we broke that support. We dipped down and we hit pretty close to the lower Bollinger Band, which coincided with this support from yesterday, 204.28 in that area, and we bounced back up. So with this bottom and this bottom, we can start to hypothesize that we're going to form either a pattern or another trend line. So what I'm going to do is draw the bottom of the red to the bottom of the red, and I'm going to extend this line, and what we start to see here is the potential for a descending wedge pattern. So far on the top, we've confirmed 1, 2, 3 touches with a few friendly reds and wicks. And on the bottom here, we've got 1, 2 touches and 2 close to friendly wicks. And looking back, I don't think that we'll meet anything. Well, let's just do it for fun. No, nothing there. Alright, so let's go back, make sure we've drawn our pattern correctly, nice and close, and then we'll let it play out. So we're watching for 2 things now. We're watching for another break of this support, and we're also now more focused on the break of one of these pattern trend lines. So one thing I want to point out real quick is the combination of resistances. So we are heading up this particular level, which is going to be about 204.80. It should be a combination of, well, there goes that idea. It was supposed to be a combination of the previous high from this candle, the MA20, and the trend line, all converging into a relatively small area, which generally would be a really, really big area of support. But we just saw a quick move up above that. I guess we could close underneath it and it would still be valid. But right now it looks like it's this trend line. So you have to keep a close eye on this. Now would be a good time to take a short position on SPY and go along TVIX. Safer bet would be to wait until it confirms in either direction. But I'm just going to keep my position as is. So here we are, make or break right at this trend line, and looking pretty strong. So I'm gonna go. Let's go watch the 1 minute. See what happens. So we tried to jump up, push back down again. So we're getting a lot of resistance up here, right where we should. I'm not gonna sell yet. But if we break that trend line, then we should. Okay, so just checking back in on our 1 minute. We had our break above, slap back down hard, 5 minutes to recover, test again, slap down, and we can see that our 1 minute we're making an aggressive move to the downside. So our trend has confirmed again, and it is rock solid. That would have been a perfect buying opportunity right up there. And in theory, we should come all the way back down to test this again, but more likely we're going to come and test the bottom pattern support. So we're still heading back down in 5 minute. We should close below 204.50-ish support. But one thing to point out is that I've extended my pattern trend lines, and they both converge around 315. So that means this pattern, which is pretty strong, is going to break before then to a direction. This pattern, the descending wedge, is actually a more of a bullish pattern, but the day is very, very bearish. So I have no bias so far. Obviously, my position is bearish. I'd love to see a bearish break, but who knows? So we just tested, bounced off, and have now re-pushed through that lower trend line. And something big is coming. You can see the volume on this candle. We've got 2 minutes left. And one thing we can do actually to confirm our patterns is draw a trend line. And if our volume is decreasing in general over the course of the pattern, that makes it a more likely candidate for an actual effective pattern. And looking on this 5-minute, we just broke in a big way that support. So we should see a pretty steady downside move, probably to 204.12. So we see a break of our pattern, and it doesn't confirm. We need to reassess what our pattern is. So I've got only 2 touches here, and clearly this is a major support at some level. So we need to look at what happens if we modify our pattern to match the new candle. Make sure it all lines up. And we see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 agreements. So our previous support was false. And had we entered immediately on that break, we'd be in trouble. That's why we often recommend that you wait for confirmation. The price staying below the pattern or above the pattern with a second candle for confirmation. So I'm going to modify my pattern here. So we're looking at SPY again on the 5-minute. This is after I've modified my pattern. And we can see that we've tested 1, 2, and we just bounced off of it again. So I'd be more inclined to believe that this is a legitimate pattern bottom. So based on these last 2 candles, I've now decided that I am more bullish on SPY. I'm hoping to get another test of this trend bottom. I'm going to sell a TVIX at that point, or I will sell right now. Yep, I'll sell now. So up 21, and we're going to leave it and see what happens. I'm going to alert the chat. That we've got a SPY break bullish, and check back in a little while. Okay, so SPY is now looking to confirm its bull break of that pattern, and on the close above the MA20, which is 204.61, I'm going to go long SPY by shorting TVIX. So in the SPY 5-minute again, we broke our pattern. We hit a doji. We couldn't break MA20. We came back, tested MA20 again. Couldn't break it. Came down, hit our support, and now we're testing to break above MA20 one more time. So the smart play is to wait until this closes, or jump in and we see a lot of volume coming. There's our volume. So I'm going to take a look at TVIX, and I'm going to sell some of it. Look at that volume pouring in. So we can see the reaction on SPY, TVIX, similar reaction. Go to our 1 minutes. We're rounding from the top. Play classic fib play, maybe go down to 204.70 before continuing and move up. So I'm going to do mental stop on TVIX. I'll lose $300 and I'm out. Okay, so we're now in a new uptrend. It's time to get rid of our previous patterns. and focus on the new ones that are emerging. So, as much as we love those old ones, we need to look at new and exciting patterns. So here I've got 1, 2, 3-ish friendly. And if I'm true to myself, my technique, I'll draw on the red. And that's 1, 2, 3, close above. So that shows me that SPY bulls are a little bit weak. They keep opening below the trend and taking it back. And this lower high in each candle is kind of a concern. So I'm going to take my $100 from TVIX if they can't close higher than this red candle on this SPY. Here I've decided to take my $100. Not bad. And we'll watch this ride up for a little while. SPY bulls are kind of weak, I think. I'm just not confident in them because they keep opening below this trend, and lower highs is never a good thing. So let's see how this does in the next few candles. Oh, look at that. Out of nowhere. Well, I'm going to stay cash for a bit until I have a reason not to. So SPY proved me wrong. And that close above, which is just a reminder that you always got to wait till that candle closes. And we see big volume on the next green candle. So we're coming up on 205.10, which is a pretty major support resist, a 5-minute for the last few days. So, see how it handles that. So SPY just dipped down to test this resist, and that gave me an opportunity to load some TVIX short. And I expect this trend to continue up to test here. So hopefully I'll get another $100 out of TVIX. So I take my $100 that I wanted, because SPY's not reacting the way I'd hoped, but it was enough to get me that little pop. So we'll now go cash until SPY has decided what it wants to do with this trend line, and then we'll just carry on with our initial plan. Alright, so we're going to break this new uptrend likely. It's really early in the candle, so I just want to point that out. And go to TVIX, see how it's reacted. Not really yet, but it's still too early to tell. I guess it could come back, but really unlikely. So what's more likely is to retrace up halfway, see if TVIX reacts, and then take a long position in TVIX at that time. It's very early. We still have several minutes to go in this candle, but I bought my TVIX on the anticipation that we're going to break this trend, and we would expect these two candles to come up, maybe hit 204.85 on the next candle on the 1 minute, and then continue down. So this could be our 204.85 candle. And I'll come back in a couple of minutes. Alright, so back in the 5 minutes. I'm not sure if I mentioned that I drew the new trend line. So we're now in a channel. So it's a trend line from way back this morning to the top of the last high that we had before we broke this new uptrend. So we saw a test of what became the new trend line, but a confirmation of a reversal was the break of this uptrend into a new downtrend. And we are currently smashing through this 204.50 support resist that we've seen over the last few days. So I took another position somewhere along the line in TVIX. What time was that? 14.35. So yeah, somewhere around there, and we're doing well. So if it closes below this, I guess it could have a resist here at the low of the day, 204.34. But there's also this at 204.30. So it's a good area for a little bit of pullback. So I will sell at 204.34, which is not very far off. So we hit 204.33. TVIX took another tick up. So I'm selling, and we'll see what happens here at 204.29. Jumping back in real quick. We bounced off of that 204.30 support, 5-minute support, as expected. So a good sell on my part, and we should go up and test this one, the 204.52 again. And if we do that and we continue to head down, we will draw in a new trend. I like lines. So as expected, we bounced off that support. We went up, got close enough to retest for my liking, 3 cents off, and now come back down, and we're testing the other support that I pointed out, and it looks like we're going to close below. It may even come down and test trend support. So what I'm going to do is actually probably go short TVIX. If we touch this, we're getting close. I'm going to do it. See if it's reacted in kind. So I'm going to short TVIX now. This SPY should pull back relatively aggressively because that's a big candle. Look at the volume on that. I'm now second guessing myself. But we're going to hold it and watch how TVIX reacts. Look at that jump, 50 bucks down already. With so much volume, I'm going to jump out of this. It's not doing what I thought. When it doesn't do what you think, you need to reassess your plan. Alright, so up $50 on that one. A little premature on my part. Let's wait and see. Alright, so it closed below. Now we should expect a little bit of a retrace. So we probably have time to jump over to our stock charts. I'm going to get a SPY. Go to my 5-minute. And then I'm going to bring you guys over. And we're going to see where we can get a little reaction. 204.18 or 204.15. I don't really agree with either of those. So if I wanted to reload my TVIX long, I'd probably do it with a touch up here. So I'll go with my 1 minute, see where we're at. I don't think we're going to get much better than that, to be honest. So this is when I start to confuse. TVIX long. And that should hold. And we'll see how it plays it. So I was wrong on that last trade. managed to get out for $40 loss. Not bad. Now I really don't know what's happening. Dan pointed out 203.98. That's a major support. Go back. You can see 203.9. Sorry. So big level, important level. I should have seen that. I wouldn't have gone so strong had I been paying attention. So we've had the same level for 4 candles in the 1 minute chart. We're now starting to edge up and test above the trend line here. So we go back to our 5. This candle might close above this trend, although it's not really confirmed as a trend. It is suspicious. Alright, so I had watched this reject come down. I loaded at quick drop below the trend line. It's now popped up. It's up 250. I'm happy with it. I'm taking it. I really don't know what SPY is going to do right now, so I'm taking my profits. Okay, guys, so that is pretty much it for my trading today. I got to stop. I think I've had a pretty good day overall, and I'm up. Looks like almost $3 grand in paper, of course, but it's all about consistency and picking the right moments, right? So, thanks again for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you later.